Hi. During interview, I usually ask this questions. So frequently, actually, I ask those questions, and surprisingly, most of the time, I'm not getting any satisfactory answers. And not only the freshers, even though the intermediate and experienced people sometimes not give me satisfactory answers. So the question is in front of you that what is the difference between ArrayList and linked list, as well as usually I ask them that okay, can you write out the code in order to prove your statements, right? So major part is like people are aware about the theoretical things. The theory says that array list we should use whenever there is a reading operation, and we should use linked list whenever there is the more modification operations, more insert, update, or deletion kind of operations are there. This is what the theory is, but usually in the development, the real time applications, we usually stick with the error list, right? So why? So that is actually the second question. That is actually the second question. But the first question is, what is the difference between array list and linked list? And if usually I get the correct answers of this, that array list is better for reading operation and linked list is better for reading and writing kind of operations whenever our application has more kind of this data. Although I'm going to discuss a whole lot of these things very deeply with you in this video. But after getting the answer, I asked the counter question that okay, can you write down that code in order to prove your statement? Can you showcase me the code which proves me that array list is faster in the reading operation than linked list? And that is the area where 90% of candidates not able to write down the code, right? They actually not able to write down the code which can prove that array list is faster than linked list. And to be very honest, although I'm not going to judge on that basis, but the point is, at that moment of time, my expectation is not a very fancy code, right, from them, which can show me. And let's start discuss on the order of big O notations kind of value, like order of n or order of n log n. What is this thing? I have no such kind of intentions. My intentions were very clear. That's to demonstrate the practical understanding of the candidate, right? Whether they aware about what they are saying, right? So my understanding is only this during that time of interview. But usually candidates are unable to write down that code. Okay, so in this video I'm going to discuss this concept and going to show you that what is my expectation, how I can prove that array list is faster than linked list. So if you are new in Java, or you are looking for a job in Java, or basically if you want to crack the Java interview with the confidence, right? Because usually I have observed that many people are working on Java, right? So many people are working 3 years, 2 years, 4 years kind of experience they have, but still their fundamentals are very bad, right? They are not able to crack down the interviews. They hesitate in order to answer it. Why? Because they worked on Java, right? That is fine, but in terms of clearing the interview, it's not enough to say that okay, we are working on so and so project and this is what the thing is, right? Your fundamental things should be strong. Okay, you must be flawless in terms of basic understanding. Uh, you cannot confuse during the basic understandings. And in this channel, my efforts are only towards making you guys more confident in terms of Java fundamentals, and to make you able to clear the interviews through my own experience, what I have, whatever the experience I am having. It's okay. So let's, without wasting time, let's go to the screen and let's discuss that how this whole things worked. So if you are new to my this channel and not aware about what content I have posted so far, so my recommendation is that you must watch my previous videos related to the Postman services, where I worked with the Stream API and a multi-threaded application. And that is also the very common Java interview question which I usually ask, right? That how can you implement the threads in order to implementing the list, right? So let's say suppose if you have to filter the content from the thread, if you have to filter the content from the list using thread, how you can do that, right? So you must watch this video as well. So without wasting a time, let's start the coding, okay? But before that, let's understand, right, which thing is fast and why it is fast. So look at right here. The basic answer is, so I have mentioned the answer in front of you now. You can read it that ArrayList is fast whenever our application has more reading operations. Why ArrayList is fast? Because there is a random, access of the data. So let's say suppose if I want to read 74, I can get it from the index number 4 or 5, okay? Or let's say suppose if I know the index value, that's okay, give me the data from the index number 88,000, I can easily get it. So let's assume that here I have created the two. One is, I have already created ArrayList and LinkedList, and you all are aware about this, I'm sure. So let's say suppose this is a list of a 1 million item, okay? This is a list of 1 million items, okay? So this is a huge list in front of us. But out of this 1 million list, let's say suppose if I want to search it, let's say suppose if I want to search, okay, give me the item from 99,000 index, I can easily get it from ArrayList. But whereas I have to get the element from the 99,100,000 or whatever the thing is, let's say 9900th position elements, I have to iterate a lot of elements. I have to every time iterate it, okay? And that is the problem. That's why linked list fails. But let's say on the other hand, if I have to insert the value after 9, so let's say suppose after 9, I have to insert, let's say 99 right there, okay? After 9, I have to insert it. So what would be the operation? What I have to do? I have to first of all shift all elements one by one, right? So it's not only shifting 97, but as well as I have to shift 63. And let's assume if let's say there is 37, so I have to shift 37 also, okay? So it means that first of all I have to search 9, and then after I have to shift elements to the next position and have to make the space empty, and then only I can insert 9 in this position, okay? So that is a task. So that's why data modification or the list modification is always a challenging part in terms of ArrayList. But whereas in terms of, let's say, linked list, let's say suppose I have to insert 108 after 79. So what I have to do, that this 79 which was actually pointing towards 156, now instead of 156 it start pointing towards this, and 108 start pointing towards this, and 56 now start pointing towards this, and 108 start pointing towards 79, okay? And that is so easy, and I have to break this link, right? I have to break this link. This old link is gone now, okay? So this is how easy the linked list is. I don't need to iterate, or I don't need to not iterate, I don't need to shift the remaining elements. It is that easy. So that's why data modification is always easy in ArrayList, okay? So this is one thing, right? But reality is not like that. The reality is, okay, it is so fine so far that 79 I can insert the data after 79 so easily, but reaching out up to 79, it's a challenging part again, because I have to traverse all the elements one by one. So one thing is good in terms of array, and one thing is good in terms of linked list, okay? So that is the thing. So theoretically that is correct, that ArrayList is good for reading operations whenever our application has more reading operations. But whenever our application has more inserting or deleting operation, we should go for linked list. That is a theoretical knowledge. But in terms of the practical knowledge, what happened, that insert operation internally has the reading operation as well, because in order to reach 79 I have to read 88, whether 88 is 79, whether 6 is 79, okay? So I have to reach up to that level. So internally all insert and delete operation internally or background process is that they have to read all nodes, and that is a challenging stuff. And that is why application basically don't like linked list. and in the production environment as well, we are using ArrayList. So this is what the correct answer is, right? Now, most of the time, I hope that this thing's clear to everybody. If you are not clear, or if you have any another question related to that, I would like to answer you. So I ask you to write down in the comment section that what is your question related to that concept, or in which particular topic you want me to make a video, and I'll make a video on that as well. Okay. So what would be the next thing is that usually I ask that, okay, can you demonstrate your understanding, right, that ArrayList is better than linked list during the reading operations, or vice versa? Can let's say linked list performs better during data modification operations? Can you prove me? And seriously, participants or guys, this is the time where most of the developers, most of the candidates actually fails, because they're not able to write down that code. They don't have that understanding that what the interviewer is asking, right? What is that their expectation? And to be very honest, my expectation was very simple. I just want them to write code, right? I just want to see that, okay, how good they are in coding. Okay, if I'm giving that kind of challenge, how they can handle it. Okay, so let's switch over to the STS. I'm using STS, and over STS we are going to write that code. Okay, so in that case, what I'm doing, I'm just copying this code. Okay, let's say copy and paste, and right here in terms of like whole lot of things, I'm using DS stands for data structures. Okay, so let's do the coding side by side. Okay, so in that regard, what happened, first of all, I'm doing what, copy and paste the service layer, and let's say instead of passport service, I'm using DS. So many of you are new to this video and don't know that how the passport service works and what is the passport service. So I'm taking the kind of a series, and in that series I'm using the passport example, where what happened, we have a business object, right? And that business object is a passport object, and we have a lot of properties inside that, and these two properties are very critical for us. That is passport is blacklisted or not. So on that basis we did filtration in the previous examples a lot of time. And second property is passport type. Okay, and that is basically the enum. So what is the passport type right here? Passport type, passport can be either a defense passport, diplomatic passport, or a government or general passport, something like this way. Okay, so it's not related to the real-time scenario, but somehow I'm trying to simulate the real-time environment, right? So let's say I just want to read the passports. Okay, so that is what the purpose. So earlier what happened, what was the previous code, that I want to filter the passport based on the status. So whether the status is boolean. So this is the, I'm not going to discuss this code. If you want to understand this code, you should watch the previous videos of stream and the thread based videos, whatever I am having it, and what is the difference between stream and parallel stream. All these things I have discussed there. Okay, so I was trying to do that. So now what is now objective is, I'm removing the whole lot of this code, and what I want, basically I want to read the passport. So what, in order to have the passport where my passport is actually, so let's create a data structure of passport. So here in the passport DB package, I have all listed passports, right? So how many passports I am having? Almost 10 million or 1 million passports. Let's count it. So this and this, so it's a 1 million passports I'm having it. Okay, so we have a huge number of passport database, and out of this passports, I'm intentionally adding few passports as blacklisted passport. So every fifth passport is blacklisted. These whole code I have done in the very first video, and that's it, nothing else. Okay, nothing else, as well as few passports are either a defense or diplomatic passport, something like this way. Okay, so I have written that whole code earlier in the previous videos. Okay. So this is my passport service, and let's remove the whole code. And what I'm doing as of now, let's create two methods. Okay, public something, I'm going to return it, and do read operation, let's call it. Okay, and what I'm going to pass in this read operation, this passport, and let's say list, and let's say string something. Okay, or leave it. Okay, for the time being. That string part I'll add it later on, what my intention is actually. Okay, so what I have to do, I have to read the passwords. Okay, so let's say what my intention is I want to read, uh, get all, blacklisted passports. Okay, so this is a resultant list. So this list is the resultant list. Okay, so list of passport and result list. So this similar kind of code I have already did earlier actually. New array list. Okay, and what would be the objective now? Now what I want that this list, okay, so this is like all passports actually. This is basically the all passports. So from the all passports I'll retrieve a passport, and if passport dot is blacklisted is double equals to true, it means that this is exactly the part which I have to work on. Okay, and okay, so even though if I don't write anything, it will be fine for my example, because my objective right now here is just to demonstrate you that ArrayList is faster in the reading operation than LinkedList. Okay, but I am also inserting the blacklisted passport in the list. Okay, so this is how I am inserting the blacklisted passports. Okay, and then return what? Result list. Okay, this is that simple. So what I did, although this is that simple. Okay, now what is my question is that can you prove me that ArrayList is faster than LinkedList? So without showcasing that, okay, showcasing the time, how we can showcase them, right? That ArrayList is faster than LinkedList. So let's get the time. Okay, so in order to do that, what I have to do, I have to rely on the basic thing. So we have a system class, system dot current time, system dot current times in milliseconds, right? So this actually giving me the time when the code actually starts. Okay, and the similar way what I'm doing here, I'm getting this is this, and this is basically the end time. Okay, and let's print the time. Okay, so what would be the time? Time would be end minus start. Yes or no? And actually who implements this? So basically that's why I'm list type and just mentioning the name list type. Okay, so here intentionally I mentioned ArrayList and LinkedList. Okay, so that we comes to know that, okay, which list basically executing this particular set of code. Now let's execute this whole part. So in order to execute this whole part, what is this main class? Okay, just a second. So I'm not very much sure. I actually forgot this whole code, whatever I have mentioned there. So let's delete everything. Okay, and in order to write down the main, what I have to do, let's first of all create passport service equals to not like this, and main, and ps equals to new passport service. Okay, and now we have what? We have main. So in main we have to create first of all main class. Let's say call app equals to new main class. I hope that you are okay with that whole lot of coding. So app dot ps dot something, right? ps dot whatever kind of the things I can do that, right? So first of all, what would be the case is? The case is, what you should know, that the passport service class is not extracting the entire passport. Instead, the main class is populating that, right? So first challenge is to get the passports from the database. Okay, second challenge is call service method Okay, and that's it. Nothing else we have to do. So let's do it fast. Okay, so what we have to do, what we have to sorry, so what we have to do, list of passports, right? List of, sorry, not package, passport, list of passport, and let's call it all passports. Let's call it passport data, all passports data, and that is actually coming from where? Passport dv dot all passports. Okay, so this is how I'll get all the passports. Okay, fetching all the passports from database. Okay, this is how I'm fetching it. Okay, problem solve. And what would be the second thing is, intentionally actually I'm making it so that is actually list of passport. So first I'm making ArrayList, that is actually new ArrayList, and here I'm passing all passport data. And the second case would be what? Would be I'm making linked list and passing here linked list, sorry. So problem solve. Okay, so these are the two sample codes what we have, and these two sample codes we are going to pass towards this service layer. Okay, so what is the thing as of now what we have? So app.ps dot do read operation. So first operation I'm passing ArrayList, and I'm mentioning here that I'm doing it through ArrayList. Okay, and in the second operation what I'm doing, I'm passing here linked list, I'm passing here linked list, and mentioning here linked list, so that we comes to know linked list. Okay, so that's we comes to know that which operation is performing which kind of activity. Okay, so I hope that you can clearly comfortable with this. So here I'm calling these two operations, and these two operations are basically this one. Okay, let's type. So first of all, it is going to help me out the caption kind of things. So let's execute this first of all, and you comes to know. So difficult actually. Okay, you are not able to figure it out. Okay, that which thing is basically performing it. Okay, so let's do one more thing. Let's do one thing. Okay, because 1 million is not a good database amount. Okay, so let's add one more 0 after it. So now it is becomes, sorry, it is now 10 million. Okay, so look at right here, this and this. Okay, so let's add run it again. So look at right here. Okay, look at right here, or even though if you want something more, so just wait for a second. Okay, let's run it again. I just mentioned few labels there again, so let's run it again, and hopefully you can view the whole code again. So reading start from ArrayList and ArrayList input, so iterated few million elements and found that many elements in 201 second, and here again iterating and 203 milliseconds. Okay, let's run it again, and probably you will get a different answer this time. So we are running it again, and this time you will get a huge difference, and clearly it's visible that ArrayList actually wins the race and linked list basically fails. And we have a lot of data, right? 1 stands 100,000, 10,000, lakh, 10 lakh, crore, right? So this is basically the Indian way of counting. So it is a 10 million records. Okay, and let's run it again, and you will get some different number again. So 180 and 194. So every time ArrayList wins, but it is not every time. Sometimes it might be possible because thread scheduling algorithms basically runs behind the scene, and you can get that. That's why the difference is little less always. Okay, so now let's write down some code in order to demonstrate the writing operation. Okay, whenever we are going to write write the data or insert the data or delete the element. Okay, whenever we are doing any kind of a modifications, then what would be the impact, right? Which collections actually wins? So let's move on to that part. So exactly same code I'm going to write down. Wait a second. So what I'm going to, sorry guys, so just a second, this one. Okay, so exactly the same code I'm going to rely on, and what I'm going to write exactly, copy, and here I'm writing whole code. So this will be the end of class, and get all the blacklisted password. So here I'm saying that updating the date of expiry date of expiry of certain passports. So okay, so do, let's say, modify operation. Okay, so reading list, then this, or let's say what we are doing right here. So not this one, and not even the blacklisted. So let's say, suppose if get passport type is double equals to passport type dot, let's say, diplomat. So for the diplomat passport, let's say we are going to increase the expiry date. So what would be the expiry date of that passport? So just for your understanding, that we have a passport and we have a expiry date. Okay, so let's say, suppose if I want to set the expiry date, so in order to set that expiry date, passport dot get expiry date plus sorry, not this, plus years, let's say adding 10 years more. Okay, so this is how I can increase the values. So what I'm doing here, I'm not only manipulating it, but I'm not getting the data, but I'm also manipulating the fields. Okay, I'm also manipulating that fields. You can easily observe this whole part, right? And inserted so not iterated, so here updated iterated all passport size and modified list. Okay, so let's run it, but in order to run it, what I have to do, I have to again call this approach method. So the method name is do modify operation, this one, and control V, and that's it. Okay, so sys out. So just using this in order to segregate these two operations. Whoops. Okay, so now you can observe, look at the code right here. So in the first one we are trying to reading it, but in this part now we are trying to modify it, right? So just forgot about reading, start from. So instead of reading, it will be the operation name. I'll change it later on. So reading from, okay, it is again fine. Actually, basically doing it from ArrayList and then doing it from LinkedList, and you can observe that modification time, ArrayList fails and LinkedList wins. Okay, so this is the real-time practical scenario what we expect during the interview, guys. So this is basically the practical scenario what we are exactly expecting during the interviews. And I don't want any kind of a fancy code from you. I usually give the system to the participants or the candidates and said that, okay, you will just write down that code right here, okay, in front of me. And this is how I usually take that interviews, and my interviews are a little tough. But if someone I'm going to select it to be I'm actually very confident on that person, that this guy is good enough. Okay, so I hope that you like this video. If you'll get some real-time inputs. If you like this video, if you learned something, I expect you to join and subscribe my channel. I hope our community will grow. Thank you very much.